Spreadsheets are common and versatile tools that are used to present information in the workplace and at home. You may be familiar with spreadsheets used for budgeting or project management, but there are many different ways to use a spreadsheet. You might use a spreadsheet to organize information, such as travel expenses or a shopping list, create a tracker to manage the people and tasks for a project, or keep a log of grades or assignments in school, or sales and invoices in a small business. If you completed the first lesson in the series, you formatted a sheet containing raw data about shirts sold for a community fundraiser. But spreadsheets aren't just for listing information. They are also useful for making calculations, summarizing, and visualizing data. It's possible to use a pen and paper to record similar information, but with a digital spreadsheet, you can easily keep track of a lot of information, analyze, filter, and sort the data, and make difficult calculations quickly. In this lesson, you will create filters in your spreadsheet. When you create a filter or use a filter view, you limit the information that you see at any given time or organize the data by a specific value in the cells. This makes it easier to see only the data that is relevant to you. Then you will use the filters you created as well as spreadsheet functions to make calculations and analyze your data. Finally, you will create charts of your data to better visualize the information. For example, you might filter your data by the size of shirts, calculate the number of shirts sold in each size, then create a graph that displays the information in a visual format. This lesson uses Google Sheets, but you can apply these concepts in any spreadsheet application. To work on this lesson, sign into your Google account. Open a new tab in your browser and navigate to google.com. If you are not signed in, do so now. If you do not have a Google account, pause the video and create one. If you completed the first lesson in the series, you will continue using the spreadsheet you started in that lesson. Open Google Drive, and find the file. If not, you will use the starter project. Open the starter project and make a copy of the spreadsheet. Remove the words "copy of" and add your name to the title. Now, it's your turn. Sign into your Google account, open Google Drive and find your spreadsheet from the previous lesson, or make a copy of the starter project and update the title. In this video, you will create filters and use filter views to better understand the data in your sheet. Filters temporarily hide data in a spreadsheet so you see only a selection of specific rows or values. Filters are useful when working with specific entries, such as if you only want to see sales by a specific person or a specific t-shirt design that was sold. To begin, duplicate the sheet of your formatted data. You may want to reference the original version again later. Rename the copied sheet. Then create a filter in your header row so you can filter any column in your sheet. For example, you might want to filter for the salesperson to see the number of sales they made and which items they sold. Choose a column to filter. Then clear the values. Select the value you want to see. The rest of the values will stay hidden. You can select multiple values in a filter too. Open the filter again to see all the values. Next, filter your sheet by other conditions for text, numbers, or dates. For example, you may be looking for an entry that contains a particular letter or a sale ID greater than a certain number. Or you may want to filter out transactions where only one shirt was ordered. View all your data again by removing the filter conditions. Turn them back on again at any time. But for now, leave your filter off. Next, you'll be using filter views, and you can only use one type of filter at a time. While a filter is visible to anyone who uses the sheet, a filter view is only visible when it's selected, so it's entirely optional. Filter views are useful when many people are using the same spreadsheet and need to filter for or see different information. For example, a salesperson may want to see all the transactions attributed to them, while a supply manager may want to see the most popular styles of shirts. To create a filter view, highlight the header row again, create a filter view, then name it. Set the condition of your filter view the same way you did with your filter. When you're finished with that particular filter view, close it. Add at least 2 filter views to your sheet. You may want to add a filter to see sales of a certain product, using a certain payment type, or from a certain range of dates. Return to your named filter views at any time. Now, it's your turn. Duplicate your sheet and rename it. Add a filter, sort by values in your sheet, remove the filter, and add at least 2 filter views to your sheet. In the previous video, you added filters and filter views to sort particular data so it will be easier to read. In this video, you will use filters to count, add, and summarize your data. This will make it easier to isolate and analyze. For example, you may want to use data from one particular column, such as shirt designs, to create an entirely new sheet that totals all shirts sold by each design. To start, create filters across your header row. Remember, you can only use filters or filter views at one time, so turn off any filter views you created in the previous video. Then turn on the filter. You may need to adjust the widths of the columns again so the data fits the space. Next, add a new sheet to your spreadsheet. Rename it and assign it a new color. Copy the title row of your sheet to make the style cohesive. Update the title to match the name of your sheet. Then freeze the row. Your first sheets contain raw data, but spreadsheets aren't just for listing information. They are also useful tools for making calculations, summarizing, and visualizing data. Return to your filter and filter view sheet, then choose a column of data to filter. Filter the column by one value, such as a specific size of shirt. Then count how many shirts in that size are listed. In this example, it's easy to count manually, but a spreadsheet with hundreds or thousands of entries would be difficult and could result in errors. To let your spreadsheet do the calculation for you, select the entire list and check the total count with the Quick Reference tool. Then, beneath your filtered data, create a list for the number of shirt sizes in your sheet. Remove the data validation from the blank rows, add the number you counted next to the size. Filter and count each shirt size in the column for shirt 1. To make this information easier to use, copy the table and paste it into a new sheet. Now, label the columns. And adjust the formatting to make the tables more visually appealing if you like. Finally, complete your table. Add the amount of shirts in each size for your other shirt numbers in the Filter View sheet. And paste it in your table. Now it's your turn. Remove filter views and add filters to your sheet. Insert a new sheet and name it Search Sales by Type. Filter Shirt 1 by size and record the number of shirts purchased in that size. Copy the table and paste it into your new sheet. Add a border, colors, and other formatting to your table. And repeat those steps for the rest of the sizes and shirts purchased. In the previous video, you used the Quick Reference tool to count the numbers in your sheet. This is useful when you want to make calculations for a specific range of cells quickly. But sometimes you need calculations to be completed automatically, even when the contents of the cells change without having to select and retotal the numbers. To do this, use the sum function. Functions make calculations easier, faster, and more accurate. The sum function adds a range of values in spreadsheet cells. To begin, type the function next to the range of cells you want to add, in this case, the size large shirts. Functions in Google Sheets always start with an equal sign. Next, type the word sum. A menu provides formatting help. Select Sum. Then select the cells you want to add. And press Enter to complete the function. Check your work by selecting the cells in the row and noting the quick reference sum. Now replace one of the numbers in the row with a new number. Press Enter to update the function. Your sum updated automatically. Undo your change so your data isn't affected. To copy the function to the other rows, click the handle in the corner of the cell and drag it up or down to populate the other rows. Then use the same function to sum up the totals for each shirt order. And the totals for all shirt sizes. Next, label the new column. Give your table a title, and match the formatting of your other table if you like. Now it's your turn. Use the sum function to add the number of shirts sold by size. Use the sum function to add the total number of shirts sold. Give the table a title, and add fill colors, bold formatting, and center alignment to the data. In the previous video, you created a table to analyze a segment of your data. In this case, shirts sold by size. In this video, you will analyze a new segment of your data, shirts sold by design. You could create another table to display this information, or you could display your data as a chart. Charts are visual representations of data. They show different data points in comparison with other points of data, as in a bar graph, how data changes over time, as in a timeline, or data points as a part of a whole, as with pie charts. To start, select your entire table except for the totals column. Your totals will show automatically. And insert a chart. The best type of chart for your data is often suggested for you, but you can choose any type of chart you like. For this lesson, choose a stacked column chart. A stacked column chart is useful for showing a total amount and smaller amounts within the total, such as the total number of shirts purchased and how many of each size. Give your chart a title. Then change the font type size, color, and alignment. Next, change the series settings. Add total data labels so it's easy to see how many of each size of shirts was purchased. Then update the formatting. Change the location of the legend and update the formatting of the text on each axis. To keep your chart from covering your table, you could move it below the table but you'll have less visible space for more tables. Instead, move it to its own sheet. Rename your sheet and change the color. Assign the same color as the sheet where the data is summarized. To prevent anyone from making changes to your chart, protect it. You can protect an entire sheet or just a range of cells. Protect the entire sheet where your chart is located. Now it's your turn. Insert a stats column chart. Label the chart and the columns. Change the formatting of the font. Move the chart to its own sheet. Rename the sheet, assign it a color, and protect it. In a previous video, you used the count quick reference to find how many of each size of shirt were sold. But this tool only works to count numeric data. What if you want to count cells that contain text values? For example, you might want to count the number of times a specific name or product appears in a range or sheet. In this video, you will use the COUNTIF function to count cells with specific text values. Then create a table to summarize them in your sheet. The COUNTIF function counts the number of times a specific value appears in a range of cells. Return to the Filter View sheet. Choose a range of cells containing terms to count in your data, such as shirt designs. Beneath the data, type the design names. Then add the COUNTIF function to the next column. Type an equal sign, then COUNTIF. Select the COUNTIF function from the menu. Add your range or list of options to include. In this example, it's the shirt designs. Hold down the Shift key, then click on the cells containing the Shirt 1 designs through the Shirt 5 designs, or use your mouse to select all the cells in that range. Type a comma and quotation marks. The next part of the function is the criterion, or the condition to be met. In this example, it's the name of the shirt design. Then close the quotes and parentheses. Spelling, punctuation, and spacing affect functions, so be sure to write the name value exactly as it appears in the sheet. Press Enter to complete the function. The function calculates how many times a t-shirt design appears in the range you selected. Repeat the steps to count the number of designs purchased for the rest of the shirt numbers. Then use the sum function to calculate the total. Now, copy the table. And paste it into your summary sheet. Oops, your calculated amounts didn't transfer. When you copy the table, you copy the functions, not the values, and your function reference cells in the wrong sheet. Undo your paste. This time, paste the values only. Give your table a title and update the formatting to match the other tables in the sheet. Now you can see all the possible shirt designs and the amount of each design purchased. Next, create another chart to represent this data. Choose a pie chart. This shows a small amount of data that represents parts of a whole. Name your chart and adjust the formatting of the labels. Change the colors if you like. Then, move the chart into its own sheet. Rename it and assign it a color. And protect it. Your pie chart shows the designs of each shirt purchased as a percentage of the whole, or the total number of shirts sold. Now it's easy to see which designs were more popular. You might use this data to decide whether you want to continue offering all designs or offer a certain design at a discount, for example. Follow the same steps to create a table and chart for the styles of shirts that were sold, if you like. Now, it's your turn. Use the COUNTIF function to count the number of shirts of each design that were sold. Format the calculations into a table, insert a pie chart to visually represent the data, add the chart to its own sheet and protect it, and repeat the same steps for shirt styles. There are many reasons you might want to share a spreadsheet you're working on with others. You might be managing a work project, reporting company earnings, or assigning tasks to a community group. You might also want to collaborate within your spreadsheet to get feedback on your work or ask a colleague to complete a task. In this video, you will share your spreadsheet with others, use comments to collaborate on your work, and view your file's version history to see changes made to your spreadsheet. To start, open the Share settings in your spreadsheet. Then enter the email address of the person or people you want to share your spreadsheet with. If you're working with a partner, add their email address. If you're working alone, add your own email address. Select the permission you want to use. Edit means the person you share with can make changes directly in your spreadsheet. Comment allows them to make comments but not change the project. And View lets them see your spreadsheet only. Give your collaborator editing permission. Provide context for the purpose of the sheet. And notify them that you've shared it. Then continue working in your own spreadsheet. Earlier in this lesson, you protected your charts. Even with editing permissions, your collaborator will be limited in what they can see and do because of those protections. Add a comment that makes an observation about your data or ask a question. Any comments are clearly marked so you can find them again later. Or add yourself or a collaborator to the comment. You will receive a notification email and a link directly to the comment. Leave at least 3 comments in your spreadsheet. Once the comments are no longer needed, resolve them. If you change your mind about a comment you've left, delete it. Or if you want to direct someone's attention to your comment, you can send them a link directly to that part of the spreadsheet. All of your changes are saved automatically to the Google Drive. But if you or your collaborator made changes to the spreadsheet that you want to remove later, or you want to see changes that were made, use version history. The version history shows all the changes made in the file by date, time, and person. You can restore your spreadsheet to that version if you like, but be careful, you don't want to lose your work, or return to the current version. Finally, while it's useful to digitally share and collaborate in your spreadsheet, a collaborator may prefer to view your data in another format, such as a PDF or Microsoft Excel file. Download your spreadsheet as an Excel file, then open it. Or you might need to print it to provide copies to a group. Adjust the print setting so that your data displays properly. Now it's your turn. Share your spreadsheet with a collaborator, partner, or yourself. Make at least 3 comments in the shared spreadsheet. Add someone to at least 1 comment. Review the version history, and download or print your spreadsheet. In this lesson, you analyze sales data in a community fundraising spreadsheet to make it more useful for you and your collaborators to present it to others and to help you make business decisions based on the data. To do this, you use filters to separate your data and focus on only the information you need. Create filter views to see multiple versions of your sheet and share specific views with others. Use the sum and countif functions to complete calculations with your data. Inserted charts to isolate particular data and display it visually. Shared and collaborated in your sheet with comments. Use version history to see what changes were made when. And downloaded your project as another file type. The skills you learned in this lesson are useful for other types of spreadsheets as well. For instance, you might use filters to narrow down task owners in a project tracker, the sum and countif functions to make calculations in a budget, charts to demonstrate time spent on a personal project, or sharing and collaborating in a contact sheet for community volunteers. Keep creating new spreadsheets to master the skills you learned in this lesson.